Hey guys, it is Spicy Potato Entertainment here, and today we're gonna be having a Star Wars debate episode. Now, this is a sort of a big rift between the Star Wars fans as to which episode is worse, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, or Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, most fans would say The Phantom Menace, but there is a good portion that would say that Attack of the Clones is worse. So I'm gonna try and sort out the rift and try and see which movie is worse. So let's look at the main thing that drifts people, I think, towards a movie or not, is the Rotten Tomato score. So if you look at the Phantom Menace first, we see that the critic has a big splash at 55%, while the user has a very iffy position at 60%. If it dips even below a single percent, it is a topped over popcorn box. Not very good, but it's just barely standing. Now, if we turn to Attack of the Clones, the critic's score is at a solid 65%, which is a strong and juicy tomato, but the user score is just 2% below the positive reception mark. And there's a 5% discrepancy in the Phantom Menace between critic and user score, and 7% in Attack of the Clones. So we can't really judge it based on critic or user agreement, since they're pretty uniform on both movies, with just a 5% and 7% difference. But we can take into account that the critics had a 10% difference between the movies, an exact 10% improvement in Attack of the Clones, while the user saw a 2% decrease. So there's not really that much that we can use from the Rotten Tomatoes score to really judge it on, but right now it appears that Attack of the Clones is winning, but slightly. But we can't fully judge it, but can we judge it by, say, the pros and the cons based on my point of view of these movies? So let's see. The pros for the Phantom Menace are these three things: Duel of Fates, Darth Maul, and pod racing. Now, I'll start with Duel of Fates. It is such a great score, one of the greatest scores that John Williams has done for Star Wars. So, and the fact that you add that into an epic duel between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul really creates such an epic battle, which I think holds up in the entire Star Wars lore. And pod racing is still one of the main positives that a lot of Star Wars fans can get out of the Phantom Menace. Just the whole, it's so popular that it's even made a video game off of it. It's not necessarily a newer game, kind of an older game, but still. And pros for Attack of the Clones is that there are so many Jedi everywhere in Attack of the Clones, and for a lot of fanboys out there, it was really awesome to see so many Jedi. Even if they weren't taking on a ton of Sith and just a bunch of CGI battle droids, it was still very cool to see a ton of Jedi just pretty much whooping butt. And speaking of CGI, the mass battles on a large scale, I think, even if it was almost 100% CGI, I still thought of it as an interesting aspect. Between battle droids and clone troopers, and I thought it was so cool that how the clone troopers, came and saved the day, and there was just a massive battle on Geonosis. I liked that aspect. A lot of fans criticize it and use it as their main point for why the Phantom Menace is better, but I actually like that aspect. And the final thing that is the pros for the Attack of the Clones is that we finally get to see Yoda in action. We have waited through 3.5 movies. No, 4.5 movies to finally see Yoda pull out his lightsaber, and it was an insane moment. It was cool to finally see him teaching Count Dooku a lesson. So yeah, that was pretty cool. So now, since these movies are both so bad, we have to give him an extra con. So cons for the Phantom Menace is, first, the entire first half is about boring treaties. Boring treaties, blah, blah, blah. Politic mumbo jumbo, sign a treaty and we can invade. And most of it doesn't even make sense. I still can't even piece out, the whole portions of the treaty. So, and it was it made for a boring first half. Like, if you had, Darth Maul doing some stuff to get the Jedi, to be like, what the heck, what's going on? And then, launch a whole investigation, and then he, comes out of nowhere and just starts randomly killing Jedi, or something like that. That would have made it a lot cooler. The second thing is annoying kid, Anakin. Oh my god. Whenever I think of Anakin in episode 1, I think of the line, "This is pod racing." Oh, it was so cringy. It was, oh god. It's really hard to fathom right now. So that's my second thing. The next thing is realizing that how creepy the relationship is between Anakin and Padme. So here's how it works. Padme is the queen of Naboo. All right, she comes to Tatooine, right, and she meets this little slave kid who's like 10, and there's like, I want to say like a 7 age difference between them at that time, and they end up getting married and having kids. That is just straight up weird. Not as weird, actually, even further, even actually weirder than Leia and Luke kissing in episode 5. It's a lot of the same creepiness. I guess creepiness runs in the Skywalker family. And the last thing is pretty self-explanatory. Jar Jar Binks. Um, I don't even know. I'm pretty sure George Lucas was like trying to create the most annoying character possible, and Anakin just wouldn't do it, so he had to get even more annoying and create Jar Jar, which is perhaps the most hated character in all of Star Wars. So, having him in that fourth slot, and the worst thing about this movie, it's just true. And now cons for Attack of the Clones is annoying Anakin again, but in a different way. And because he's now older, he's, do I dare say, a little bit more mature? I don't know. But he's annoying, not in the sense that he's just, annoying, but in the sense that he's like bratty and overconfident and arrogant. So, with that aspect of Anakin in episode 2, um, yeah, he's annoying, but in a different way. And I know I said that I liked the use of CGI earlier in terms of the clones, the battle droids. But other than that, there was just too much CGI between Naboo, Geonosis, Coruscant. I don't even think I found a single practical set in this entire in the entire prequel trilogy, which obviously left a sour taste in my mouth. But I felt it was extremely prevalent in Attack of the Clones more than it was in the Phantom Menace. Because in the Phantom Menace, I mean, Tatooine was in there for a large portion of the movie, and you filmed it in an actual desert. Um, Tatooine was sort of prevalent here in Attack of the Clones, but not as much as in The Phantom Menace. And Naboo was like CGI, and a little bit of South Coruscant CGI. So the CGI factor gets really hammered down on Attack of the Clones. And the next con is another creepy relationship between Anakin and Padme, because at first Padme's a little creeped out by Anakin and how he's trying to approach her romantically, but then he starts to grow accustomed to him after he's assigned to protect her. So it's not as creepy as it was in The Phantom Menace, but still pretty weird. And the last thing is the really bad escape for Count Dooku, having him topple down this convenient pillar to almost crush both Anakin and Obi-Wan and Yoda. What happened to science doesn't matter, man. You held that thing, sure, you held the pillar and stopped him from dying, but you kind of like thrown it into the ship or something, and you just let him escape. I mean, you couldn't have like pulled it back. So that escape was just horrible, and that's the last con for Attack of the Clones. So now, moving on, there's still not really much of a leading factor here. So, you can look at what I've been judging it on so far, and you would say that Attack of the Clones is up there. But now let's see if we can judge it by certain portions in the movie. And I can say yes, that both of the first halves of these movies were boring and full of politics, treaties, and stuff like that. But it is safe to say that Attack of the Clones had slightly the better first half than The Phantom Menace, simply because it wasn't solely focused on treaties and Gungans, specifically Jar Jar, that made it a little bit more enticing. Say like the whole chase, Zam Wessel. Not saying the chase was good, but that it was still better than the opening of the Phantom Menace. And you have Camino and all that, and the clones and the whole conspiracy. So it's at least more intriguing than the Phantom Menace. So Attack of the Clones They get the nod on the first half. Now, as for the second half, I would say a definite yes to the Phantom Menace. And that fantastic duel between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul is really, really good. But I feel it's overly um, overshadowed by this annoying Anakin, not to mention the CGI mess of a battle between Gungans and battle droids. I mean, clones versus battle droids in episode 2 was good, but Gungans and battle droids, that battle was just, it was just a complete mess. So, speaking, going back to annoying Anakin, his really weird destruction of the Trade Federation flagship, taking that down, and having the cliche ending of like he destroys something and that disables all the enemies thing. Um, just like what the heck? I mean, you have this epic battle between Qui Gon, Obi Wan, and Darth Maul over here, and then you have this annoying cliche ending over here. So I can't really give a definite yes to the Phantom Menace, but at least Attack of the Clones didn't have a cliche ending. But I'm not saying that it didn't have a fantastic one. The battle between Count Dooku and Yoda is overshadowed by Count Dooku's cowardly escape, uh, really kind of underwhelming the whole Yoda, his reveal into how he fights. But I still feel that the CGI battle between the clones and the battle droids can be overlooked for now, but still, I would say that the combo of Duel of Fates and Darth Maul, even though with the overshadow of annoying Anakin and the CGI battle between Gungans and battle droids, still hands the Phantom Menace the win in this category. So, I'm still split on this issue, so I'm just going to judge this based on epic action, really. So, in the Phantom Menace, you have the really forgettable desert duel between Qui-Gon and Darth Maul on Tatooine, but then you have an epic end battle, which is the second best battle of the prequels and one of the best battles of the entire Star Wars lore, um, and second best only to Anakin versus Obi-Wan at the end of Episode 3. But it was still an epic battle, really good. And then in Attack of the Clones, you have cool fight scenes between clone troopers and battle droids. And many people still forget that George Lucas was aiming this towards a younger audience, which was why Jar Jar was in there in the first place, was to try and appeal to the younger audience, which obviously backfired. But still, the whole cool battles between a ton of clones commanded by a ton of Jedi against a ton of battle droids, that whole battle was just epic if you were a kid. And even now, it's still not a battle that you can just overlook and say, it was crap because of, CGI. And every fanboy was so happy when they saw Yoda fighting Count Dooku because we have been always so interested as to how would he fight with such a small stature? How would he be able to deal with someone much taller than him? And the answer was using acrobatics, which was actually pretty interesting to see. And the Colosseum battle between all of the Jedi and the battle droids was really just so cool for a fanboy. But Anakin and Obi-Wan, they got straight up wrecked by Count Dooku, I'm not gonna lie. So that kind of downplays everything. But I'm gonna have to give this point to Attack of the Clones, even though they didn't have necessarily a rememberable duel like in the Phantom Menace. I still felt that it had brought more to the table than the Phantom Menace. So overall, neither of these movies were all that great. Okay, I'm not saying that I like either of these movies. I don't like either one. And for once in my life, I'm gonna have to go with the critics. The Phantom Menace was worse than Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones was the winner in this challenge, I guess, that they're better than the Phantom Menace. So, but it's not by a significant margin. It's very, very slight, and the debate can still go on as for why the Phantom Menace is better. But I feel like there's never going to be an answer. There's going to be all sorts of opinions, all sorts of reasoning for why one movie's better than the other. But that's kind of the ugly beauty of Star Wars, being able to debate these kind of things. But from my reasoning, in my view, The Phantom Menace was worse. So, what do you guys think is worse, Attack of the Clones or The Phantom Menace? Rant on in the comments, discuss, try and convene with each other as to why maybe The Phantom Menace is better, but based on my perspective, Attack of the Clones is better. Um, I'll be uploading some more stuff later on. Spicy Potato Entertainment out.